welcome everyone. Welcome to the ServiceTitan global event, Expanding the Extraordinary. I'd like to remind that this is the second event. We had an amazing one in Berlin on March 9, and we were supposed to be in Munich right now, but there is an elephant in the room for why we're not in Munich right now. The zombie apocalypse happened, and here we are showing that nothing can stop us from moving forward with the mission of expanding the extraordinary. So a few ground rules of today's event. First of all, we're keeping the microphones on mute, and we're keeping you can keep the videos out so we can see how excited you are, how you're reacting to everything. And we also have, if you feel super excited, like really excited, we have here below reactions in the form of a thumbs up right here, and in very extraordinary cases, claps. You can use the claps. If you can do that now, we can have a round of virtual claps. That would be amazing to see if, yes. Yeah, there we go. That's happening. It's actually happening. Excellent. So today we're going to hear the story behind the first Armenian unicorn, ServiceTitan. And let's get to the agenda, which is appearing on the screens right now. So we're gonna see an inspiring video by the two co-founders of ServiceTitan. We're gonna hear about the challenges of the successful journey in short presentations right after that. And we'll, of course, hear about the opportunities that ServiceTitan is offering in Armenia and why now. A lot of questions. In the meanwhile, you can also write your questions in the chat box below, which we will get to at the end. And of course, you'll hear a little bit about the life and tech in Armenia as it is now and progressing as we speak. So without any further ado, I give you the video of the two co-founders of ServiceTitan, please.
To understand ServiceTitan, you have to understand Vahe and I and where we came from.
So when I was 6 years old, my dad decided that we had a better chance at a good life if we moved to the US, and picked up the whole crew and just came over here. No job, no money, didn't speak the language at all.
So I came here when I was 1 year old, and my father is a residential contractor.
He worked a lot of odd jobs when we first got here, ended up working as a plumber.
Growing up, we would watch them head out at the crack of dawn and go out there in the biting cold and the scorching heat every day to break their backs and put food on the table. At some point, when Vi and I grew up and graduated from USC and Stanford, our fathers asked us to find them some kind of software to help better manage their growing companies.
I started looking around, and when I saw that there really wasn't something worth recommending to my dad, I decided to build it myself. For the first 5-6 years, it was just me and Ara in a room programming away.
They started from my garage, actually.
ServiceTitan is meant to be a one-stop shop for our customers, and it's a platform that is meant to run from start to finish the entire operations of a home service business.
When a customer calls a company, the CSRs that are answering the phone call are able to pick up the phone and see all the customer's information right there on the screen in front of them. They're able to review all the previous times that company has been out there to service the customer, all the notes.
Dispatchers get to see where everybody is on a map, so they get the closest guy to the closest job on time.
And that technician is able to provide a much more compelling service experience.
The technicians get to have iPads where they can take pictures, they can show product catalogs, they can go through options with the customer, do paperless invoicing. We've shown that there is a huge opportunity to improve business performance.
I can see how my marketing is doing, how my CSRs, the people that answer my phone are doing. You can get a report on your technicians, how they're pacing, their conversion rates, and that's really, really important. And the best thing about it, that it's like 2-3 clicks away. So the dashboard, I like to call it my investment portfolio. I invest so much time in my company. I invest so much money in marketing. So when I look at that, I say, okay, my time and my investment is paying off today. It has dramatically increased our revenue.
So on the ServiceTitan dispatch board, you have a ton of information and it's really easy to digest. The reports are awesome. You just put in the date range and it's there. If I see like a tech that did really well yesterday, I can go high five him in the warehouse before his day starts. It's all automated, it's easy, it's amazing.
It was perfect for me. He was the original customer that it was designed for, so it's very satisfying to see my dad actually using software, which I didn't think was possible at some point. But
When our customers are successful, we're successful.
Okay, let's hear that round of applause. Yes, in the emotions section, there we go. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And now I give the floor to the head of international strategy and operations, Vachov Sepian. The floor is yours.
Hey, thank you so much, Sergey, John. Everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm not sure if you can see me. I hope this is working. My camera's working. Yeah, I have the pleasure of talking to you a little bit about our overall company growth and the challenges we've experienced in that process, and also tell you about some of the opportunities that we're looking to create and are reaching out to our networks, including all of you. And so thank you so much for taking the time. So let me start off with a little bit about myself. My name is Vachov Sepian. I currently head up the international strategy and operations for ServiceTitan. Been with the company for about 5 years. In fact, right when that video was shot, I had joined just a few days after that, I think. So that pretty much gave you, hopefully, a pretty good overview of how we got started. I'm going to spend more time around where we are today. So specifically, what is our customer base looking like? How many employees we have? Where they come from? And then I'll hone in a little bit more about our vision for the future. What opportunities we are seeing today in the marketplace, how we're thinking about tackling those opportunities, and where does sort of Armenia fit into that overall vision. So with that, let me start off with telling you a little bit about our customers. So at the time when that video was shot, again, this is about 5 years ago, I think we had about 100 customers. Today, we're at roughly 4,500 customers. And those companies range anywhere between 5 to 1,000 employees. So we're an enterprise software that, but it could also be used by smaller companies. In terms of revenue, our customers range from 1 to 100 million in revenue. And this picture is actually a real customer of ours who agreed to participate in one of our shoots. Customers is their we can talk to them. They can tell us about sort of what challenges they're having, and it's sort of revolutionary when you actually feel someone getting so much value from the software puts a smile on their face, and they're able to actually grow their businesses. They're able to get some free time for themselves, spend time with their families, and so it's very satisfying. I actually personally I didn't even know that was something that I was looking for before I started with ServiceTitan, but along the way I came to really appreciate that. So that's one of the, I think, unique things about us, is that we're very closely connected. And that comment Ara made about when our customers are successful, we're successful, we actually really believe that. I know a lot of companies say, we're customer centric, we care about customers, et cetera. We actually feel our customers, both their success and their challenges, we feel that on our skin. And so that's, I think, something that's very unique about us. So let's talk about us a little bit. Ara has this quote, Ara, our CEO, has this quote where he says, the biggest driver of success for any tech company is its talent. And I couldn't agree more. And we've been very fortunate to have had the opportunity to build a full-on rockstar team. Today, we have roughly about 1,000, we call them Titans, our team members. We call them Titans. This picture is actually the unveiling of the sign for our new building in Glendale. That we just put up. And so this is part of our team that you see in this picture. We currently have locations in Glendale, which is where our headquarters. We have a location in Atlanta, which is in the East Coast of the United States. And of course, Armenia, which is, we'll get to that in a minute. But a couple of things about our people. I think what's really unique about our team is everyone that's at ServiceTitan is very passionate about doing something that actually creates value for real people. We also try our best to attract people who want to constantly grow and make an impact, both on themselves and their careers, but also to our customers and to our company. We've been very fortunate to be able to bring people from, some of the best tech companies that I'm sure you've heard, like Google, Amazon, SpaceX, Microsoft, you name it. Our team is incredibly high performing. We have a very high bar, but we also really believe in investing in our people. So that combined has given us the opportunity to build, like I said, a rockstar team. And I personally attribute a huge part of our success to the people that we've been able to attract and hire. When I joined ServiceTitan, we had about 40 employees. It was actually employee number 41, which I take a huge pride in. But today, again, we're close to 1,000. And obviously the latest sort of bright spot in our growth has been Armenia, and our team in Armenia. Ashot and Lucy now are going to talk a little bit more detail on that. So I don't want to take away their thunder, but sort of the biggest, in the most recent couple of years, the biggest sort of step towards continuing to develop our team has been our investment in Armenia. So let's keep going here, and let's talk a little bit about our investors. So we've done 4 sort of major rounds and we've raised a total of roughly $325 million over the last 5 years. The first investment was made by Bessemer. That was Series A at $18 million. That sort of put us on the trajectory to continue to expand the team. This is actually exactly when I joined. It was right post Series A investment. Bessemer, for those of you who are familiar, is sort of considered one of the best or leading investment firms as it relates to specifically to vertical SaaS. The partner who sits on our board from Bessemer, his name is Byron Dieter. He's sort of considered as the god of vertical SaaS. So we've been very fortunate. And then over the years, we've also attracted other investors, and our board is very well versed in understanding what vertical software needs in terms of the needs of the marketplace, but also what companies need to do to actually take advantage of it. Our most recent partner is Index Ventures. Some of you might know Nina Chajan. So she's one of our board members now, and she's a huge supporter of our growth in Armenia. So overall, we've been very fortunate to have incredible investors and continue to have a great support from them. And let's move on to our next slide here, and let's talk a little bit about our growth plans. What's really interesting about sort of ServiceTitan and how things unfolded for us is when Vahe and Ara originally started ServiceTitan, the vision at that point was to just build a software that their parents can use, right? In that process, they pretty quickly realized, because their dads had friends who would run similar businesses. They pretty quickly realized that this entire industry is basically hungry for innovation, and it's been pretty much ignored by technology. And so that is what sort of fueled our growth over the next couple of years, is when we started attracting more customers within sort of the focus area. But then as we went and added more and more customers, our customers kept telling us, hey, now that we're using you and you're sort of our main platform, can you help us integrate with this other software? Can you help us solve this other problem? Can you help our technicians take payments in the field? Can you help them do financing, et cetera, et cetera? And so our path towards delivering value to our customers originally was more towards integrations with other solutions. And then at some point we realized that, well, wait a minute, if we can integrate and we can add value, why not build our own solution? And we can make it better, and we can sell it ourselves, and we can, compared to the value we're delivering, we can take a portion of that as our revenue, and that will fuel our continued growth. And so that's how we started thinking about what we now call new products. If I draw parallels to Apple, for example, you can think of desktop being our original application, and then iPhone being one of our new products, or AirPods being another new product that we're introducing. So we are at a point now where we have a slew of new products that we're very successfully taking to market, and we have a huge backlog of things that we want to continue to build. So that's around new products. New markets is the other area where we see huge potential growth. So that is both within our current geographic area, so United States and Canada, which is where we're primarily operating today, but it also includes international markets. So right now we're sort of in research phase of looking at Europe, looking at Australia, looking at South America. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So I certainly see sort of international expansion in the near future for us. And then finally, new verticals, which is within home services industry. There are a lot of verticals that we're currently not covering or not servicing, I should say. But that is also a huge opportunity for us. So right now we have a team who is specifically focused on sort of testing our product in new verticals. And we see a huge growth opportunity there as well. So bottom line is, we see ourselves now in a position where we can actually fuel an entire industry, which is called the trades. Basically every business that services a home or a commercial building, we consider our potential customers. And that market itself is roughly about $1 trillion in terms of its overall revenue or overall оборот in Russian. So again, I'm sure you will appreciate that. So we see a huge opportunity for us to actually come in, deliver a ton of value, and we see a path to getting to a 1 billion in annual revenue for ourselves. We've doubled and tripled over the last 5 years several times, but we still have a pretty big runway in terms of what the opportunity continues to be for growth for us. And it's also very interesting because there are very few vertical SaaS companies that have actually been able to operate in a way that they cover an entire industry. And I think we're very uniquely positioned to be, if not the leader, at least one of the leaders in that movement of being the operating platform for an entire industry. So that's super exciting for us. And with that, let's talk about, okay, what are the biggest challenges for us? Like I said, talent is the biggest driver for success. So when we think about the opportunities that are in front of us and we think about, okay, how are we going to actually accomplish these things? The biggest obstacle for us is finding and hiring the right people quickly enough so we can continue to scale and we can continue to keep up with the demands of the organization. And so we came to a point and a realization that only focusing on the US market for talent isn't going to be enough. And this was about 2-3 years ago when we started pretty actively thinking about opportunities to expand globally. And that's when sort of Armenia came into play. We sort of set our eyes on Armenia even before actually. And so let's talk about why Armenia, right? A lot of people ask me, well, why specifically Armenia? So a few things. One, we pretty quickly realized, and we did a few trips, Baha and I did a few trips starting from like 2015, 2016, and talked to a lot of people, trying to understand the ecosystem. And what we learned pretty quickly is there's very deep technical talent. I'm sure that's no surprise to any of you. But we actually were able to validate that by picking a few people and setting up conversations with our CTO and some of the senior members of our technical staff. And the team was super impressed. So we said, okay, well, the technical bar is checked off. The other thing that we realized is this uniqueness about us in that, we apply critical thinking to pretty much everything that we do. We are very ambitious and very hungry to make an impact, and we care very deeply about our work, right? And those are all things that we constantly look for when we try to attract talent, both in the US and now in Armenia. And so we saw that as a huge plus. And then finally, familiarity, right? So I grew up in Armenia. Baha, as you saw from that video, he was born in Armenia. We have very close ties to the country and to the culture. And for us, going to, let's say, a random country and trying to understand the culture, trying to understand the ecosystem was going to be much harder than doing that in Armenia. And so combining all of those things, it sort of became a no-brainer. So we said, okay, well, let's go ahead and get started somewhere, right? And we're very fortunate to be introduced to now our managing partner, Ashot. You'll hear from him in just a little bit. But essentially, we sort of set out on this journey of building the Armenia team and making it sort of critical part of our operation. And so I'm about to hand this off so we can talk a little bit more detail, but I want to leave you with this, right? The bottom line is we have a huge opportunity in front of us. ServiceTitan has a huge opportunity to continue to grow and make a huge impact, both in terms of impact to our customers, impact to our people, in terms of for their development and their career opportunities, but also impact to Armenia. And in a way that we can showcase how you can get value, true value. And I'm not talking about outsourcing. I'm not talking about less expensive labor. I'm talking about creativity. I'm talking about innovation. And we so far have already pretty much validated that the Armenia team is positioned and will deliver a ton of value to our customers. All we have to do is enable them, right? And so that's what we're focused on right now. We're focused on two things: attracting the right people and enabling them. What does that mean? That means giving them autonomy to make decisions, bringing them closer to our customers so they can understand where our customers' problems are, so they can creatively solve those problems, and giving them opportunities to actually build new things from scratch, right? So all the new products that I talked about, right now we're trying to bring some of those products, the development, the incubation, I should say, not just the development, the incubation and then the development and then the go-to-market. We're trying to bring all of that to Armenia. To do that, we need people. We need people who have diverse experience. We need people who care, and we need people who want to make an impact. And so I'll leave you with this. If this resonates with you, if you feel that this mission of really showcasing our collective power is something that gets you excited, we really want to talk to you. So with that, I think I've taken way too much time now. Just want to remind everybody again, feel free to, if you have any questions as we're going through the presentation, drop them in the chat, and then we're going to have some time for Q&A, so we'll get to that in the back. But thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And going to hand it off to Lucine. Lucine, take it away.
Thank you, Vlad. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucine. I'm Engineering Director in ServiceTitan. Thanks for your time and joining us tonight. So I would start talking with about the career tracks. As engineers, we like to work on the interesting technology, on the interesting projects. But I think what is important also is what career opportunities we have in our workplaces. And from that perspective, ServiceTitan Armenia is providing really great opportunities. So we have main two tracks, technical and management. So you choose where you would like to go. And from technical perspective, you can go from senior software engineer to tech lead to manage one team scope and manage the technical decisions, and then up to the principal engineer and the architect. And same from management, so you can go to engineering manager and engineering director and even VP of engineering, because taking into account all the goals we have in ServiceTitan to expanding to Europe and other locations and making Armenia possibly a hub for that expansion. So we have really ambitious plans on how big we are planning to grow our Armenia location. So next, I would like to talk about our engineering team. You will hear more in other slides about what departments are here in ServiceTitan Armenia, but here I would like to talk about engineering teams. And as you can see here, we again have a variety of choose. We have product teams who are working on customer-facing features. We have machine learning big data team who are implementing features on those areas. We have platform teams. They are actually providing the common frameworks and libraries and some automation tools for all other teams. And here we are using inner source model. So it is same as open source, but within the company. So actually, if you are working on your product team, but are interested in the project which platform team is working, you can actually invest some time and contribute to the project you are interested in. And also we have an infrastructure team, and they are dealing with our distributed and scalable system in the cloud. So what about tech? So our main technology stack is Microsoft stack. So we are using .NET Core and C# and Microsoft SQL Server and React in our front end. But there are like a bunch of other technologies, as you see in this slide, which we are using. What I like in ServiceTitan and in engineering leadership, that they are very open-minded and supported in terms of what technology to use. So we are actually trying to use the cutting edge technologies to not be behind the market and the trade. Because like usually in this type of companies, they have already like 5-6 years old technology. And as the product is really huge, it's very hard to move to like newest stack. But for example, last year we have did a big investment in the development to move our entire application from .NET to .NET Core. So it's really interesting to experiment, and from technology perspective also to use all the tools and technology which are actually applicable to the problem you are having without any like bureaucratic limitations. And what is also interesting is that whenever you are working on any project or product in ServiceTitan, you need to keep in mind that you need to build the scalable and distributed system to make sure that it is able to handle the current load of our system, and it is not small, and also to build so it could be easily scalable to the growth which we are envisioning for the future. And recently we just started extracting some of our services from our monolith application. So ServiceTitan main application used to be the monolith, and we decided to move to microservice architecture. So now also it is very interesting and challenging work, how to build those services, how to define the right system architecture. And we have already done it for quite few services. So we are using Docker and Kubernetes to host them in the cloud. So from technology perspective, it's really interesting, and there are a bunch of technologies and challenges which we are facing during our day-to-day work. And I would like also to talk a little bit about the product and the projects on which our teams are working. So as Vaj mentioned, the ServiceTitan is actually platform and operation system for the trades. And that means that we are trying to solve all the problems our customers are facing during their workflows and in their businesses. So we are trying to solve the problems like how to effectively manage my marketing budget to get the best return of investment of the campaigns I'm doing. Another type of problem could be like how to integrate with all different suppliers and supplier chains to make my product list up to date. Another type of project could be how to use some IoT technologies to maintain my tracks to make sure that the maintenance is done on the timely manner. So there is like a bunch of different type of projects, and the areas in which our teams are working is very diverse. So it's really interesting to work on different part of the product. Also, a ServiceTitan is really growing very fast. There are like a bunch of new projects which we are working on. So it is never just working on the existing product and maintaining it. It's always like creating the new project, designing new architecture, like finding the interesting and innovative ways how to build the technology so that it supports our needs. Yeah, I think that's all from my part, and I'm happy to pass to the next speaker.
Hi, everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yeah, my name is Ashad, and I'm currently running the team in Armenia. And I want to focus on 3 things. And so one thing, I want to explain how is ServiceTitan different from the typical multinational company opening an office in Armenia. And then I want to get you a little bit insight about our growth plans, and then also talk a little bit about our Silicon Valley level benefits and perks we have. And so it was very important for us that it's apart from having business goals and executing them, it was very important for us to also how can we contribute to the community, and that was one of the main drivers why I decided to join ServiceTitan. And because usually we see companies coming and just just pure business, pure labor, but I think it was ServiceTitan with its success can and has a responsibility to also contribute to giving back to the community. That was actually the one of the most important points for me to the reasons to join ServiceTitan. And so what we want to do is we want to create unprecedented career opportunities. So usually you mostly have all the management and innovation happening in HQ of the companies, and then it's decided what the work that should be done and it's just passed over here and it's just executing work. So there's very limited opportunities for having an impact, kind of influence how the product is going to be developed further. So so that's why the idea here is to really from the very beginning have a team that can innovate, that can develop, that can deploy, that can support, and get to even up to customer success. And one of the important things also in terms of career group opportunities is that we don't have any limit. Like so we are less than 1.5 year here operating here, and we already have director level positions here, which is not that common with foreign operations. And it can get to up, as Lucina mentioned, it can get to up to VP level, and I think that's one of the differentiators. And then education is one of our passions, so also for me personally as well. So as you know, everyone needs talent. So we are here to not just to take the talent that's available here, but we also want to create new talent. And for that, we actually need capacity. So we have already explored the whole thing, and we have our actually projects and plans on that. We just realized that we need more resources, and we can't right now wait for another year for talent to be able to contribute and also to train the next generation of talent. So one of our goals is also to how can we accelerate that, and one of the ways is that, and that we are getting the other differentiated factor. So we are heavily investing in repatriation. So we know, and I have had a former colleague, so who were engineers who grew to a certain level, and then they just felt like they're stalled and their career is stalled, and they have no much room to grow. So they decided to emigrate. And then now a lot of things have changed, both in terms of Armenia, which Manu will talk about a bit later, and but also in terms of the opportunities we have, especially ServiceTitan has created here. So we want to put a spotlight on that. And then the other thing that we have had in our plans was to be the first company that. So by the way, so all our employees they have stock options, including everyone in Armenia. And that's another thing that we are very passionate about to see happening, where a company IPOs, and then you see a lot of wealth creation in the country, which will create the next generation of entrepreneurs, angel investors that will further boost our ecosystem. So why we think it's very important that we all just don't look here locally, but also internationally for talent, is because so you have by now a lot of experience that not every engineer here gets to gain here in Armenia. So I think that's a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience that if we can in some way help bring back to Armenia, that will benefit both ServiceTitan and Armenia overall, because those are the top level specialists, the engineers, they're also going to be the coaches, the trainers of our next generation of talent. And so from day one, we have set a very high bar. So even though we are here, so we are hiring very carefully. And so we are, people who relocate here, they're going to be working with a really, really top talent that you can find both here and in the region. And by now, we are already the employer of choice in Armenia, you could say. And we started with engineering, and then we added product and UX. And then we also added customer support and customer success. And we are very bullish about this. And we plan to add all the possible disciplines that we have in the HQ, everything that doesn't require direct face-to-face interaction with the customer. So who knows, one day we might do that too. So, and then it was very important that, as I mentioned earlier, we don't want to be like, we tell you what to do, you just do what to do. We want this to be full autonomous operation here, where people have all the opportunities to be innovative, to be creative, to create value, to have an impact, not just execute, taking orders basically. And empowerment and independent decision making is really one of the core, not just for Armenia, but overall in the company. That's how management works here. So there's no micromanagement, there's no trying in any ways to limit people's creativity, etc. So, so in December 2018, we started with 5 people, and we had to rent a co-working space, and we were looking for an office. And right now, we are already like less than 1.5 years. So we are now 60 Titans here in Armenia. And this is our appetite. So we want to grow to more than 120 people by the end of this year. So I hope that makes it clear how serious we are about this. And I want to talk also about the compensation. So we already have few people who, well, from Europe, it's 3 or 4. They are Armenian, so they used to live there, and then they heard about ServiceTitan, they explored the opportunities. They explored the opportunities to come back to Armenia. And then what we hear from them is like, they come here and say, actually, I'm making more money here than I used to make it there. So when we started to explore the salary levels in Europe, and then we realized, thanks to our lower taxes, and so we are really, really at the same level as in Europe. So there might be a lot of people who are, you know, there used to be the mindset where you think like, if you're relocating back to Armenia, you're also going to have to compromise on your income, etc. So given the lower living costs in Armenia, so we have, at least in our sector, so we have salaries that are on par with Europe. And one of the other exciting things is that we are a pre-IPO company, so our stock options are not really, are not just very symbolic, but they're really, really significant. And they're going to be more and more significant as we grow. And some of our compensation, so apart from equity and salary, so there's also, you can get up to like a 30% bonus of your annual salary, depending on your performance. And overall, when you compare where we are right now, the opportunities we are trying is like joining Google in 2002 and getting stock options. So, and then I want to talk also a bit about more detail about the benefits. So we have a specifically dedicated learning and development budget because we truly care about the development of our Titans. We want them to keep growing, to keep challenging each other, to push us to the next level. And that's why we are looking for the best, and we are doing everything we can to also offer the best. So we have things like unlimited vacation, a free lunch, and things like, and we have a world-class health insurance that is doesn't have any challenger in the region, not just in the country, and it's even surreal even for people who are living in Europe. So we will share with you a little bit more information about it later on, and we have things like that is also not most common in Armenia. So we have up to 8 weeks paternity leave for fathers, not just for the mothers, even much more longer for the mothers, of course. And we have a flexible work schedule. So we had work from home before work from home became trendy. And we have things like referral bonuses. So if someone refers his other friend to move, let's say from Europe to Armenia, so we have a $3,500 like referral bonuses. So this is just a few of the perks we have. So I think I don't want to take too much of your time and go over the details. So, and I also briefly want to talk about relocation. So we also have created a relocation package that includes air tickets for you and your family. And you can also get the coverage of up to 5K of shipping your belongings to Armenia, your cargo, your stuff when you're moving. And we're gonna be paying the first 3 months of rent and utilities and everything included. We'll assist you with all the paperwork, with a relocation, a residence permit, or whatsoever. And we also help you with all these things like integrating into society, including like finding job for your spouses, etc. So that was all for me, and I would like to hand over to our wonderful Mane, who will talk to you like how it's like to live in Armenia.
Thank you, Ashad, for the presentation, and thank you everyone for your time to join us today. As Ashad talked about the relocation, let me give you a very quick insight into what to expect whenever you consider relocating to Armenia one day. That can be in a year, 2 years, or maybe just now. Okay, let me start with the growing tech scene in Armenia. Here in this presentation, you're going to see some information taken from a report produced by Catalyst Foundation, and this showcases the results of 2018. So these numbers are rising. We have a lot of tech companies registered in Armenia and a lot of employees in the tech sector. And most importantly, we recently had a separate ministry for high-tech industry. This speaks about the serious intentions of the government towards the tech industry in Armenia. It's worth mentioning that global tech companies established their presence in Armenia. And in this slide, you can see some of the companies which established their presence here. And what is great about this is that these companies bring completely different working culture to Armenia. And also they enhance the choice of people living in Armenia to decide which company to join and where to grow, where to have their professional growth. You can see that we have a huge startup ecosystem in Armenia, and there are a lot of companies that have been founded in Armenia and now have global recognition. A lot of products are built here and are used worldwide, and the international media is covering Armenia very often right now. We have informal communities. This is a great chance for people living here to participate in informal meetings, meetups, and find like-minded people to share their knowledge, their experience, and get more out of this. We have a lot of tech events in Armenia. What does it mean? That means that we have a lot of international speakers coming to Armenia, and this is a great chance for us to establish a kind of long-term relations with people having different backgrounds and having different experience. If you are concerned about the future of Armenia and maybe you are considering relocating with your children, I would say that now we have great opportunities from the perspective of having formal and non-formal centers and institutions to cultivate new talent. And we have international schools, we have private schools where children can experience themselves in different fields and find what they love most. And coming to the life in Armenia, I should state that we have a lot of changes, and there are a lot of unique places for people to go to spend their weekends in, or just to spend great time with their family and friends. We have a lot of outdoor activities, and I'm gonna mention that a lot of people from Europe, especially from Georgia, come here to experience all this stuff here. And from this perspective, our tech community is also very connected. They organize cycling, running, and all the activities you see on the slides together. We have world-class pubs, restaurants, cafes in Armenia, and now we have a lot of pubs, underground pubs, where you can have very, very, very great music and evenings. I'm gonna kind of put a special emphasis on music festivals because they change the culture we have here in Armenia. A lot of DJs, a lot of rock groups come to Armenia, and you don't have to go to Europe for all this stuff. Though I think that now we are more than connected. due to these low-cost flights. And even during the weekend, we can take a flight to someone to France, to Germany, to participate in an event and come back. So basically, this is about the tech and life in Armenia. And in case you have more questions, I would highly recommend you to stay in touch with us. Here you can find our LinkedIn pages. And here you can have our company details, job openings, Facebook and LinkedIn for more information. So let's be in touch, and we would love to have all your questions answered. At this moment, I think we're good to go on Q&A and see what questions you have right now. Sergey?
Thank you, Mane. John, here's the cheer from the crowd. I'm just interpreting the claps that we're seeing on the screen. I'd like to remind about the option to ask questions through the chat. At this moment, we have one question from Levon, and the question is voice. So feel free to ask any questions, and then maybe we'll give a chance to ask them like verbally, which is, I know, risky. It can be very successful, or it can turn into a chaos, acoustic chaos. But let's take a few moments for the question to show in the chat. In the meanwhile, I just wanted to reiterate that not only we have the great pub culture, but we have more than 10 world-class wineries, and the wine culture, including the wine days, are really picking up. And the aura, the atmosphere in Armenia is saturated with all kinds of this type of wine-related activities. And also, we're getting questions. Also, the rafting. I also would like to reiterate that the rafting is really amazing, and a lot of folks from Georgia are coming down to Lori region, from where, by the way, the co-founder of ServiceTitan originates, Vahe, as I remember. So a lot of rafting activities are happening there. And in times like this, just wanted to stress that even in times like this, ServiceTitan is expanding, continues to expand, and look for the talent and creativity that you may offer. So, okay, let's go to the questions. Do you have, okay, I'll just, the questions are really rolling here. How do you have mobile development?
I can go ahead answering this. Yes, we have mobile development, as we're also providing mobile application for technicians who are going to the homeowners. So we have our mobile application. It used to be on the web technology, so not fully native, but now we are also making the decision to move to fully native applications.
Mm-hmm. You can have follow-ups, and by the way, you can also address your questions even after this. You will be answered individually. So about the unlimited vacation. So what's the unlimited vacation?
So yeah, I'll take that part. So we have a philosophy that if you need to rest, you need to rest. If you are not productive, it doesn't make any sense for you to be at work. And so that's why, apart from the legal requirement of the minimum vacation, so on top of that, we're adding as much vacation as you need. Well, of course, do not confuse it like, I can stay at home for a year and get paid. That's of course not the case, but it's for the cases where you actually need to rest, and then you're aligned with your manager that it doesn't have any impact. So what we mean is that there's actually no set limit how much rest you can take. The rest is really up to you, how you perform and how you align it with your manager.
All right, thank you. What are the opportunities for marketing professionals in Yerevan?
I can take that one, Sergey. So currently, as Ashot and Lucine covered, we're primarily focused on R&D, so product and engineering, which obviously includes infrastructure, QA, et cetera, as well as customer success, which we've started with technical support. So long story short there, we don't currently have any openings for marketing professionals. That said, there's obviously internal marketing, brand marketing that we're doing in Armenia. So certainly happy if someone's interested in employee branding, we can certainly connect. And then in the future, we do view Armenia as the platform via which we will sort of land anywhere around the world in terms of our operations. And so once we get to that point, once we make a decision of which countries we're going to enter and how we're going to position ourselves to go to market, there's very high likelihood that we will meet marketing professionals. And at that point, there's also a high likelihood that Armenia could be the hub where we can hire those professionals. So long story short, you should certainly connect with us. I think we should talk more. That said, currently, if you go to our job site, you're not going to see any marketing openings. And that's because, again, right now, we're very sort of laser focused in R&D and post-sale organization build out in Armenia.
Thank you. What are the technologies? What technologies are you planning to develop more in Armenia? Furthermore, some mobile stuff there.
Yeah, I will take that. There are actually no any limitation in terms of what products could be developed in Armenia. So we're going based on the project which we have and on the priorities of a company. And saying that yes, we currently at this moment, we do not have mobile hiring for Armenia, but we are planning, as we are moving more to the mobile native applications, we are planning not only extending our current mobile application, but also develop some other mobile application. And when we will start with project, we will definitely have native mobile hirings in Armenia as well.
Thank you. About remote working options, what options do you have without relocation part?
I think I can speak to that as well, Sergey. So generally speaking, we do have opportunities for folks to work remotely. That said, we do also strongly believe in collaboration and in being in the same place. Obviously, COVID has sort of challenged a lot of those beliefs. But I personally continue to believe that there is a ton of value of being around a team, being surrounded by people that you can work with very closely. So the sort of the short answer there is yes, there are opportunities, but long term, we would prefer to have a path to relocation if we're talking about somebody joining remotely. So that's sort of, I think, case by case basis, we can have deeper conversations around that. So if you can't move right now, that's totally okay. You should still definitely engage with us. And then we can hopefully be able to tailor something that specifically meets your needs, that gives us a path towards relocation at some point, but it also solves for sort of in-between period if there's such opportunity there.
Next one, I saw on your career site you have Q&A automation position, manual back box positions. Anytime soon in the future?
Yeah, actually we're hiring both for manual and automation QA. So currently we do not have manual QA position, but as far as I know, we're planning to open soon. So definitely contact us and we can discuss the details. Commonly regarding the QA engineers, our approach is that we would like all our manual QAs to do the automation, and they expect our automation QA to do manual as well. So we try to come to a situation when there is like one title and the QA people just are responsible at making sure that the quality which we are expecting is on the good level.
Thank you. I think you also covered the next question about ML engineers in this one. So we're jumping to the next question. Do you have a Java-based web applications? And if yes, what Java version do you use in the projects?
No, currently we do not have Java-based applications. As I mentioned, we're on Microsoft stack, so our main development language is C#. And for our Android applications, we are using Kotlin.
Okay. What do German Armenian experts need for languages to go to Yerevan? English or the West Armenian is not enough?
I'll take that one, Sergey. Yeah, it's certainly enough. And you know, Armenian is obviously sort of the working language for the office, but for the company, you know, any interaction with HQ, any interaction with our customers has to be done in English. So I would say English knowledge is required. That's at various different levels, depending on how technical your role is. The requirements may be higher or lower. For example, if you're a product manager and you're expected to communicate with customers, obviously English knowledge is much more important. Բայց հայերենով մենք հանգիստ կարող ենք խոսակցել, այս process-ը ամբողջությամբ կարող ենք հայերեն անցկացնել եւ այլն։ Այսինքն ընդհանուր առմամբ տենց հստակ restriction-ներ չունենք, բայց բնականաբար անգլերենի իմացությունը համարյա բոլոր ռոլերի համար պարտադիր է։ Again, depending on the role, it could vary the level of English knowledge that would be required.
Okay, and any plans to?
Sorry, I would like to comment on the machine learning engineer opportunities as well. So as we have like machine learning team, and the main opportunities for them, like they are researching all the data which we have from all our tenants and coming up with some suggestions or some model implementations which could apply to our other tenants. For example, it could be some benchmarking data that like best class companies like yours, they are using these features and they are implementing these processes, and that's why they are gaining this revenue. So to come up with some suggestions. Also, there are opportunities for some other machine learning problems. For example, like researching all the calls, all the requests for the jobs, which is coming, and trying to predict like which job will end with most revenue.
Thank you. Any plans to open a center in Gyumri? And does it require Gyumriva Barbar if that happens eventually?
Actually, I would like to add one more point, Lucina. So we are having actually a senior manager level ML specialist, top-notch guy moving from Germany in a few months. So he will be heading our ML team here in Armenia. So yeah, to the question about Gyumri, of course, we are exploring those as we go. And right now our main focus is to extend the operations here in Yerevan, including with all of our educational efforts. So building our management team and setting up all the framework for smooth operations. And as we go, of course, we are not limiting to Yerevan. So Gyumri, and also not just Gyumri, but also Vanadzor. And now I'm hearing also Goris is putting itself on the map. So we don't have any constraints there.
Okay, cool. A very relevant question about today's situation. What was the company's response to COVID-19 situation? Was it different in different sites?
Yes, I'll take that one, Sergey. Thanks for the question. So the short answer is no, it wasn't different. In fact, we went through great length to make sure that the benefits that we're offering to our employees for working from home, to making sure that they're comfortable, et cetera, making sure that all of the benefits that were being offered in HQ were also being offered in Armenia. An example is, for example, buying a screen or buying a comfortable chair. So the company allocated certain funds for every individual to be able to spend to make themselves comfortable. The other really awesome benefit that we offered was childcare, to help with childcare services for those of us who have kids at home. And you know, if both I and my spouse, obviously, it's very difficult to do that from home. So that's as far as benefits that were offered across the location. In terms of how the company responded, we're obviously going through a lot of sort of reforecasting to make sure that we have very clear goals set based on the implications of COVID. We're very fortunate in that the industry which we serve is considered essential in the United States and Canada. So our customers continue to operate. So that gives us an opportunity to, in fact, add more value to them. So one of the things we did pretty immediately is we rolled out sort of what we called the COVID package through our product. So we did an intense 3-week sprint that was primarily focused on things that we can do to make our customers' lives easier during COVID. And so from a product perspective, we reacted that way. From people ops perspective, we reacted in a way to make sure that our Titans are comfortable working from home, et cetera. So overall, I would say the team as a whole, that both the leadership team and the entire team stepped up to the challenge. And so far, we're not seeing any sort of meaningful impact to our productivity. to our morale, as well as to the excitement for the future for the company, we continue to be very, very bullish in our ability to continue to grow.
Cool. And I think the next question is also maybe to you. How big is the product team?
Yeah, the product team currently in Armenia, we have 3 product managers, and we recently hired a lead product designer. We plan on building a team around for product design, as well as continue to invest in product. Obviously, the biggest challenge for us to grow our product team in Armenia is familiarity with the industry needs or our customer needs, and being able to be very close to our customers. But so far, in fact, one of our product managers has been with us over a year now, and we're seeing a ton of value that we're able to drive through having the product manager in Armenia. And so the idea is to build autonomous teams that have, you know, all the essentially key personnel in one location. So for example, we have a fully autonomous squad now that Lucine leads, that has a product manager, as a designer, as a QA person, has obviously developers, engineering manager, etc. So the idea is to build these co-location teams that can take something from incubation all the way to market. And so that's a little bit of a longer way to answer, but that's our vision continues to be that we'll continue to invest in building our product organization in Armenia.
Okay, thank you. To clarify, does the development team in Armenia work on the core product of ServiceTitan? I'm trying to understand if you have developer positions in other countries too, or only in Armenia.
I can take that. So we have engineers who work on the core product. We also have engineers who work on new products. So the short answer there is both. In terms of do we have positions outside of Armenia? Yes, we continue to hire in the US as well. We do have a partnership through a third-party vendor in Russia, in Yekaterinburg as well, where we have a pretty sizable team. And we have some contractors around the world as well, in Poland specifically. We work with another contractor there. So positions are available across. That said, we certainly, again, like I said, the co-location is very important for us. So the focus in hiring for R&D over the next couple of years at least is going to be pretty heavily placed on Armenia.
Are you planning to turn into platform as a service company?
Yeah, I can take that too. I think you can think of us already as a platform and service company. I think it depends on what sort of definition you look at. But ultimately, we are the main platform that our customers operate on. And we do have plans of sort of rolling out a marketplace where other companies can come in and build solutions on top of our product. So far, we've chosen to make that investment ourselves and continue to build the add-on products, if you will, ourselves. And so we feel that that's the best path to delivering the most value to our customers. But we do see in the future, we do see opportunities for us to actually have an open platform where other companies can continue to build as well.
What cloud services are you using?
Yeah, we are using Azure services, and we have a big, like, different data centers and different clusters there. Also, as we are experimenting now with Kafka and with other services as well, we are using managed services which Azure is providing. So our whole infrastructure is in Azure.
Okay. Any plans of developing insurance software?
I can take that as well. So specifically insurance software, no. But we do look at, just like with everything else when it comes to new products, we do look at what our customers are spending money on when it comes to technology. So if for example, if our customers need to buy an insurance product and they need a marketplace to go and look for it, we see opportunities where we can connect. So if there are insurance providers specifically that are selling to our customers, we think we can be that bridge. But in terms of developing specifically product for insurance market, we're not. We are a vertical SaaS, and we are very laser focused on delivering deep value to our customers. And that's actually been one of the keys to our success, is that we have been very focused. We haven't sort of diversified, even though we could have. We haven't diversified, and we've kept our focus very narrow. And that's resulted in our customers seeing a ton of value in the products that we're developing and delivering to them.
Here's an interesting question. On what basis your job openings and positions can be moved from the US to Armenia? Just theoretically.
Yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but I'll take a stab at it. If this is around sort of what roles or how we think about having the same job opening in the US and in Armenia and how those two sort of work together, for us, it ultimately comes down to finding the talent. If we can find the talent in the US, we'll hire in US. If we find talent in Armenia, we'll hire in Armenia. As it relates to opening and positions can be moved from one location to the other, I'm not sure I fully understand it. Maybe the person who submitted the question can reach out to me directly via LinkedIn. I'm happy to have a longer conversation.
Yeah, sure. So what, can I, with my own voice, so can I clarify?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I meant was, so let's say there was this other person asking about the mobile development, for example, right? And I just checked your website. So you have mobile developer positions in the US. Isn't this a good reason, for example, to move the position to Armenia, right? As an example. So there's interested people, right?
Yeah.
Mobile development is not something that you wouldn't find in Armenia. I mean, definitely you can find this, right? So that was the question. Maybe I phrased it.
Thanks for the clarification, Hovigjan. I appreciate it. Look, the key is for us, it's how fast we can do it and where we can find the best talent. And so we don't think of it as sort of a zero-sum game or one excluding the other. So we continue to look for talent in all locations. Obviously, from a perspective of finding people who have the right pedigree, we have seen a lot of very positive signs in Armenia, and that's why we're so bullish in our ability to continue to grow. But that said, we don't want to limit ourselves because ultimately this is it's a speed thing, right? We need to make sure that we're taking advantage of the opportunities that the market has created for ourselves and that we're delivering as much value to our customers as we can. So when it comes to that, we constantly look for talent everywhere we can find. And when we do find the right people, we will likely make the hires regardless of location.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on. Do you rather have a normally distributed skill level among employees where you have some juniors, some mids, and some seniors, or you're striving to excellence and top talent?
I'll take that one. So actually, taking interns and juniors as well, we take it very seriously. It's a huge responsibility. So before we do that, so we plan to do that, but we are not we don't have the bandwidth for that, and we want to have a clear plan and the capacity in order to coach them, to mentor them, and really have a clear plan. So if we take an intern or junior, so we want to have a clear plan. How do we get him to become a solid developer, let's say within 18 to 24 months? So we are currently working on putting in place those programs, but at the same time, growing our capacity so that we can support that.
Thank you. Do you have any project related to car industry?
Interesting question. So again, similar to the insurance question, we don't have anything that we're planning on building specifically for the car industry. That said, one interesting new product that we're actually looking at is fleet management. So a lot of our customers have, cars. Well, all of our customers have trucks that they use to go out and visit their customers. So therefore, a question comes up, how do I manage this fleet, right? It's like, how do I make sure that the cars are maintained accurately? How do I track the cars? How do I make sure that the driver is going straight to the customer site instead of somewhere else? So those are opportunities for us to build add-on products that could be considered as something for a car industry. But as it relates to specifically trying to solve a problem in the car industry, that is not something that we're looking at currently.
All right, moving on. Customers, and by the way, questions are adding on, which is a good sign. So customer success was mentioned as one of the upcoming disciplines. Are opportunities expected soon?
Yeah, I can take that as well, Sergey. Yes, they are expected soon. The how soon is the hard question. So in terms of how we think about building the customer success organization in Armenia, the first and most important thing for us when we hire people for customer success organization is make sure that they understand our customer, that they understand the needs of our customer, they can communicate with our customers, and they can add value, right? And the way to do that is the way that we see to do that to scale in Armenia is to start with technical support, which is where we have invested first. So right now we have a 10-person technical support team. So those are folks who work in our Armenia office and service our customers in US and Canada. So some of it is email, technical support, email questions that are coming in, chat, we're very involved with chat. And what we see the future for that is as we continue to develop our customer support organization, we can then, once we have the talent developed, so people who are familiar with our product or familiar with our customer, familiar with our industry, then we can sort of create career path advancements for those folks. And I didn't mention this, but I ran customer success for ServiceTitan for about a little over 4 years. And one of the ways we were actually able to grow the customer success organization was very specifically treating our technical support team as a hub for talent development, right? Incubation. And we're trying to replicate that in Armenia now. In terms of specific timeline for customer success growth in Armenia, I would say that's a 6 to 12 months period, roughly.
Okay. As the questions are picking up, I'll try to focus on some of the technical ones. And as we mentioned before, every question can be also answered individually through follow-up and through the links provided. So is it an issue?
Sorry to interrupt. So there was one question that I think we didn't see. There was a question about whether it's a requirement to speak Armenian in order to work it. The answer is no. So English is our business language. So if you're fluent in English, you should be just fine.
Okay. Is it an issue to not have experience in C#, but have big experience in software development in other language to work in your company? Do you give time to get some knowledge in new language?
Yeah, I will take that. It is not a requirement to know the C#. We have cases when we hire experienced engineers who were from other disciplines, but we expect that like the ramp-up time will be really short, and the candidate will invest this time as well to get acquainted with the language. But the answer is no, it is not required. We have cases when we hire C++ developers or C# developers, and we're expecting that for experienced software developer, it should not take a lot of time to switch to another language.
Mm-hmm. I think this is also technical. Do you have BI team? What technology are you using? BI.
Yeah, we have BI team. I can't say for sure what technology we are using, but we have data warehouse in Redshift, and there are mainly Python scripts which they are using for reporting.
All right, another technical one. Hi, any project accomplished plan using natural language processing?
No, currently we do not have any of that type of project.
Okay, let's see if we have any more technical. Okay, we can go on with these ones. What are the main sectors where ServiceTitan has clients? Economy sectors, you know, stuff like that.
I'll take that one. So trades is what we consider sort of our big industry. It used to be home services for us, which is every customer that services a home, or every business, excuse me, that services a home. And now we've expanded that to include everything that sort of falls within that trade umbrella. So you can think of them as businesses who service homes and commercial buildings. So it could be anything from plumbing to HVAC to pool service to locksmith to handyman. Basically anybody who services the trades, we consider our customers, our industry.
Uh-huh. Okay, I guess we can take a few more questions.
Yeah, let's tackle the one about growth and culture. Sergey, that's a really interesting one. I would like to speak to that a little bit. So the
Yes.
question is, how is ServiceTitan tackling the challenges regarding growth versus culture? That's actually a great question. So like I mentioned, I joined the company when we had 40 people. And essentially at that point, we didn't even think about culture. We just did what we thought was the right thing. And Ara and Vahed, led us in that journey. And ultimately, the main thing there was, caring about our customers, making sure that we're making them successful, and having a very high bar for ourselves. For both, achieve the extraordinary is one of our values. For both, for what we did for our customers, and also what we did for ourselves, our teams. Now, how do you actually sustain that as you grow, right? It is very difficult. That's probably the biggest challenges that we have today. And very interestingly, Armenia is actually giving us the avenue to preserve that culture, because we have a small team, we have people who are very eager, and they sort of operate in the startup environment, and that actually fuels back into the HQ, which is now obviously a much bigger company, but ultimately it comes down to people, guys. So we are constantly driving the culture from the top down. Almost every all hands we have, there's conversations around, who are we, what are we trying to do, and what do you need to be successful at ServiceTitan? And it goes from layers, right? So it starts with Vahe and Ara, and it goes to the executive team, and then it rolls down from there. We, at each level, we invest a ton of time to make sure that our culture is preserved. Again, what's really interesting about Armenia is that it's sort of become one of the driving forces in that effort. And that's something that honestly for me has just been one of the biggest discoveries, because when we first set our eyes on starting in Armenia, that I didn't imagine that was going to be one of the benefits that we were going to get. But it's very clear today that that's been sort of a huge positive impact to our ability to continue to sustain that culture.
Okay, and I guess we can go to the last two questions. I really love this question, very relevant. What's the hiring process? How's that happening?
Lucina, you want to take that?
Yeah, I can say how we're doing for engineers. We have several stages of interviewing. So we are doing 2 technical interviews, which mainly are the code pairs. So it's live coding where we give some specific tasks and see how the candidate is actually performing as he will perform during his regular work. And there is also one more general technical discussion to understand the candidate background, his interests, his skills, and which team he may fit the best. And also we are having the discussion with our HR and Ashot for culture fit. So actually it's mainly 4 stages, 1 hour each.
Okay, well, thank you. And here's a question about moving to Armenia. Why move to Armenia if I can work from home office? Could home office be located anywhere in the world? Type of deal. So what's so cool about Armenia, of working in Armenia? Unless the pubs and the wine and the rafting is not enough, what else?
So I think, yeah, that's maybe it's a natural question, actually. If we have work from home or work remotely, why do you need to relocate? So we have talked about culture, and it's for the culture now, since we have been working from home for 2 months, we're already seeing also a little bit of the disadvantage of not sitting together in one office. So work from home is not something that is, and actually none of our team wants to do that on a permanent basis. So we value a lot all the great and fun and social interactions we used to have. So, but work from home is something that you have it as an option. So if there's a time or a week or a day or whatever that you can't come to work, so you're free to work from home. But in general, we value a lot the co-location part that we talked about in a different in the other question as well. So the co-location is also very important because a lot of interesting things are happening as people are discussing or casually talking in the hallway, in the kitchen, or on a terrace. So yeah, so working remotely is something that we have right now from different locations, but specifically for our Armenia office, we invest a lot of in the bringing all the minds here and concentrating here.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Sorry, just a couple of words to add to here. I think it's also very important in terms of when you are having people who are working from home, it's very important that all the operation and all the processes within companies are set up so that the one who is working from home is set up for success. So at this point, we are not the grade of being truly like remote company. There are already some discussions and maybe we will land at some point to that, but it's not also okay, you can start working from home and there are no any supporting processes which will make you successful. So we want to make that in the right way. So that's why currently we still prefer our employees to be at home, at office.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you all very much. Thank you
Sergey
for
John,
being
real
a
quick.
part.
Sergey John, real quick, just a couple more things I want to cover. There's a question about the location in Armenia. Actually, we just had our board meeting yesterday and got approval on our long-term space. And so we're going to start constructing our own sort of full floor at a high rise in Armenia that's very close to the Haraparak area, a little bit. It's on Arami Street, Arami and Abovian, basically. It's very sort of centrally located. Currently, we are at the AGBU building next to Vernissage, and very close to Haraparak again. We have a full floor there, and we have a third of another floor. We've outgrown that space now, so we are essentially investing in long-term space, which should comfortably house anywhere between 200 250 team members. So we expect to have our grand opening later this year, hopefully before the end of the year. But that's another very exciting thing that we just sort of finalized yesterday. That I thought it's worth sharing. And then let's see.
Yeah,
and then there was another question about, is it possible to join the team without immediately moving? The short answer is absolutely yes. Again, we'll need to look at case by case basis, but yes, absolutely. So if we're not expecting people, look guys, we understand this is a big undertaking, right? Like if you're gonna move your family, and those of you who have kids, spouses, etc., that's a big undertaking. And so we're not expecting that this is all going to happen in a week, right? So engage with us. Let's understand your situation, and then we'll do our best to tailor a solution that makes the most sense for you, assuming you're interested in there's mutual path there.
Okay, and with that said, unless there are any other interesting points we'd like to add, I'd like to remind that you can ask any questions, including trick questions, to ServiceTitan on their LinkedIn page, and there will be a lot of follow-up. And trust me, they have a very meticulous answer to anything you may wonder about in terms of working here, relocating, etc. So feel free, and thank you for being a part of expanding the extraordinary with ServiceTitan. Have a great day, everyone, and looking forward to keep expanding with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.